Well, I regret to inform you all that it's just me again.
I'm back. We just got done watching Mufasa starring James Earl Jones for about 2 seconds.
It was, I thought he was going to have a bigger part in this, to be honest, but maybe that was just me not doing my research. He said like a couple lines, and they did a very lovely tribute at the beginning, but that was about it.
Some topics that we want to hit today are the parallels that they used in this movie versus the original movie, the music, the new songs, the old songs. Mufasa himself has some new powers, I guess. And I think Disney just really wanted to push a lot of water sims in this one. Let's get started on the parallels and symbolism.
So instead of trying to create something brand new with a character that's very beloved by a lot of people, Disney took the route of just making it Simba Part 2, but a little different. So there's a lot of parallels in between Simba's journey coming back to Pride Rock as there is with Mufasa and getting there for the first time ever. Except this time it's called Malele, which means forever.
Malele is essentially like the heavens. It's the glory land where everything is flourishing. That's their ultimate goal to get to, aka it's Pride Rock. But they call it Malele. They made a song about it. The song wasn't that good, but they made a song about it. They mention it constantly throughout this entire movie, almost like a little too much. But that's ultimately their goal, is to get to Malele.
Mufasa is obviously not even close to there at the beginning. Kind of like how Simba gets taken away from Pride Rock. Simba gets stranded in the desert, found by Timon and Pumbaa. Mufasa kind of has the same thing going on, except for instead of the desert, it's water. And there's a lot of water in this movie. There's a lot of water. And you'll see throughout the movie, especially if you've seen the original animated movie, that there are just so many shots that they tried to recreate from that movie. But for Mufasa, that it really kind of takes you out of the experience itself. They just cram it down your throat. It was really distracting.
One or two parallels or symbolisms can be neat and be like, oh, that's kind of neat that they did that. But they leaned way too heavy on the original movie to carry this movie through, which gives me my opinion that this movie wasn't really meant to be just a standalone movie and give Mufasa's background story. I think it was meant to just push Disney's technology and their CGI to the next level.
I agree. It was very much about what can we do to showcase all this new water CGI that we have going on. And it's like, oh, you remember when Simba did that? Oh, this is like the same thing, but it's with water though. Like, isn't that cool? Remember?
Yeah.
And it was, I'm so disappointed that in the age we are in Disney, where we're getting remake after remake after remake after remake. But at the same time, what else did I expect? It's just a remake of The Lion King.
It's a remake of The Lion King, just with more water. That's probably the best way I would put it. But let's talk about the music here. So the music soundtrack, they kept one, maybe a couple. I know like one of the main themes in the original Lion King they kept. They played that quite a few times throughout the movie. Again, they leaned heavily on the original movie. They also had quite a few new sing-along soundtracks too, that we both are in agreement. We didn't like any of them.
No, I didn't like any of the new songs. So Lin-Manuel Miranda did the music for this one, and he also did the music for Moana. It's very, very obvious that that's what this is. To me, it felt like I was listening to some Moana tracks that were in a Lion King movie, rather than I was listening to something that made sense for the Lion King. The songs themselves were just trying too hard to be just catchy.
Forced. Yeah.
It was very forced and really annoying, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, the brother song was the most annoying for me. Yours was which one?
The bad guy song, the bye-bye song.
The bye-bye song. Yeah, that was cringe. Actually.
Oh, it was bad.
He's this big tough guy, and he's like, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Doesn't fit
and he
his
kept
character
saying
at
it over and over. Oh,
yeah.
It was not good. I don't think he was the right person.
No, not for this movie. That was a bad fit. Disney's just making some bad choices lately. But in addition to that, I want to talk about the characters themselves too. We talked about a little bit in the beginning about Mufasa having some new powers that they never explained in any of the other movies whatsoever, but apparently he has these powers. He didn't have them in the original Lion King. His son doesn't have them, so essentially he has the ability to hear and smell things from like really far away. He would call it like, oh yeah, it's half a day away. And the things that he can hear and smell are just absurdly ridiculous that he can hear or smell these things.
Yeah.
It is absurd.
It's really crazy. And there's no like warm up to these powers at all. Like you're just thrown in with it. It's like, you got these powers and you're the only male lion who can do this, so you're important. But apparently all the female lions can do it, and we never knew that.
I guess.
From
I don't
any of the
know.
other movies.
There's one of my biggest issues with the live action part of Lion King is that it's just so inconsistent with the characters, especially the voice dialects. You get voice dialects from all over the place. No one ever sounds like they're from the same area within Africa. It's too inconsistent for me.
Speaking of the CGI, I thought it was improved from the first one. However, I'm not a fan of this take of Lion King. I would have much preferred another 2D animated film.
Something more cartoony rather than realistic looking. Yeah.
I think that lends itself to more expression, where in these films, especially in the first one, I really had a hard time because they were just lion faces and they could do so much with their mouths before it gets ridiculous looking and it makes them feel wooden. They did do a better job in Mufasa, but you still come up on the same walls where it's really, nobody looks different enough. You don't have like the black lion here. Oh, he's clearly the bad guy, and the proud red mane, like,
I mean, you kind of do. They made very white lions, but that didn't.
Okay.
So one of my gripes with this realism thing is they also have this like artistic interpretation where they're just very unrealistic. So the very white lions, that's just a very unrealistic look. They're not that white. One of our issues we had was this waterfall that they showed that looks beautiful, but it's like we wonder like, where's that water even coming from?
Right.
Like, the mountain has a peak and like somehow there's a bunch of water above it.
It came out of nowhere, yeah.
And so I have a hard time wondering, like, is this like, you know, like a fairy tale land because it's a Disney movie, or is it like a realistic land because it looks so realistic? Or is it a hybrid? And if it's a hybrid, I think that doesn't mix well as a hybrid. So I have a hard time judging that. But I go to my opinion. I think the very main reason for this movie is not to actually give Mufasa a background story that no one asked for. I think it's just for Disney to have a reason to really push their technology and their CGI and make really cool water simulations, because the water simulation is the best I've ever seen in a movie, along with the snow animation. So that part was a 10 out of 10 for me, but that's the only reason I think this movie exists.
I have a hard time disputing that at all. When you said that the first time after we watched it, I was like, oh yeah, this makes 100%
When you see how much water's in it,
it's like, just a demo for their technology.
It's totally a demo.
So I think it'll go without surprise when we give our recommendations here that I don't recommend you see this movie.
I don't recommend it either. Even if it comes out in streaming, you can probably honestly pass on it unless if you're just bored and can't find something to watch. You won't totally regret it. It's interesting enough, but not really worth your time. What score do you give it, though, out of 10?
Out of 10, I reluctantly give it a 6. I would want to go a 5, but I think there was just enough to push it past mid for me. But I am disappointed with the folks at Disney who put this out. I think they could have done better, and it really could have been an easy win for them.
I too am giving it a 6. I also leaned that I probably should give it a 5, but I don't think it deserves that, just because I think the CGI was just honestly too dang good. That carried this movie for me. And also based on my scoring system tells me it's a 6 out of 10 movie as well. But I too am disappointed where they had the opportunity to do something really crazy, unique, and give Mufasa a really epic background story, and they just did not deliver that for me, and it left me just feeling disappointed in the end. If you're looking for a kids movie, I would quicker recommend Sonic 3, which we have a review out coming soon. If not now, by the time you're watching it, go check that one out instead. Thanks for liking and subscribing. We have been two regular dudes doing regular reviews.
I think that one was pretty straight to the point. I don't even know if we have any fucking bloopers in that one. I think
Not really. I think that was pretty good.
This is what we put at the end. We're just so disappointed. Now you can be too.